this is a personal opinion, but what was rough on Tuesday for me was the Superman and Lois season 2 finale for various reasons. Not that it didn't have its highlights, but let's start with the positives. Um, I thought that I'm searching for a positive. And I'm
Oh my
so
goodness.
Clark's, let's start with Clark's cardigan at the end. The highlight for me, I screamed in our group chat.
Yes. It was so luxurious.
It was
That was fresh out the
adorable.
box.
Yes, it
Yes.
was.
I loved it.
He looked so nice on the ship in his cardigan. He was giving rich,
Yeah,
wealthy.
like J. Crew ad dad.
Yes, which I didn't expect, but he wore it well. It was great.
Yeah.
It was a nice little way to end that.
Yeah. On that note.
Moving on to the Flash. Yes, I will say that was a lovely end. Superman and Lois does this unusual thing with its endings in that it's always quite a simple scene, but there's so much heaviness to it. They're not necessarily teasing the next villain. It's just a very heavy, emotional, family-driven story, and the building of the new fortress in the ocean, which is the more traditional looking fortress. I just let the comic book fan jump out on me. It looks like the one we saw in the Christopher Reeve movies. It looks like the one in Smallville where it's shaped that you can see the icicles like sticking out of each other. That was nice to say. That was for sure a big moment. And
I have questions about that, not to interrupt you.
Not at all.
While we're on the topic, like where were they? Because isn't Smallville in Kansas?
Yes.
And Kansas is landlocked, to my knowledge. So like, where did they go?
I think, now this is what gets me. The Fortress of Solitude is out in the Arctic somewhere, so no one can get to it. But they decided to take a nice little boat out onto the ocean. Now, it could be anywhere in the world by the sounds of things. Remember, Superman does have his powers back, but like people use the ocean. So what are they? Oh, look at that nice ice sculpture in the ocean.
Yeah, that's my other question. Like, are they not worried that people are going to see that? Because it's like, it's pretty big. Even though it's in the middle of the ocean, I'm like, you're just gonna throw that there?
Exactly. Did you not see Titanic? Yeah, it's. I don't know where I am. I assume it's supposed to be somewhere maybe close to the other one. I don't know. It didn't look icy, but yeah. I did. I have to admit, even the big comic book stan in me was like, "Where is this?" So I'd be like, "Yes, that's an understandable question."
Like I was on board with it, and then I was like, "Wait a minute." Kansas is landlocked. We're thinking the boat. I mean, it's all unimportant. It's just my brain asks those questions.
They always do in the simple scenes, to be fair. Yeah, no, but it was a nice little family-driven ending, but obviously it had comic book implications, just like Natalie's arrival from the other Earth in the previous season had comic book implications. It's very, very for such like a action-packed finale, it had a very like emotionally heavy ending, and I like that. I love that. That's what the show does best. To go back a little bit to the actual episode, I'm interested to hear your thoughts because nobody was more divided about the finale than I was. But I will say that the episode itself, without that little bit of context, which we'll get to later, I really enjoyed. I thought they did a great job with it. I thought the stakes were there. I didn't like the fact that Lois was separated from the pact for the whole season, nor for the whole finale. That wasn't necessary. But I do like the fact that she was telling everybody, you don't need to be alone and you shouldn't be alone. And then poor old Lois was left on her own. But I will say I really enjoyed the finale just from a stakes standpoint. It definitely felt like a solid build up to everything. The payoff was worth it as well. And I just, before we get shady, I do just want to shout out that possibly the best scene the show has ever done was in that episode, and that was when Superman was getting supercharged in the sun and he had the flashback to the family, that beautiful music played as he remembered his kids at Lois, and you saw the skin that had burnt on him started to repair itself. And I think that's what kind of separates him from like Tal-Rho, for example, although Tal is getting there. That's what separates them. They're both Kryptonian, they're both super, and they both could be the world's greatest heroes. But the thing that makes Superman that little bit better, that little bit stronger, is his empathy and his love for his family. And that's what ultimately helped him heal while the sun was destroying him. And to see him come out of there supercharged, the comic book fan in me couldn't have been happier. To see the S glowing, all the little accents on his outfit were glowing, his face was glowing. He overloaded the parasite, Ali Alston, with his power. That for me was probably the best scene the show has produced. And then when he landed in all of Smallville, clapped for him, and Chrissy with the tears in her eyes was clapping for him, Lana was clapping for him, and all these real people that Superman never really gets to interact with was clapping for him. And then of course that special little moment with Lois, which was a tribute to when they first met, which you've seen in last season when he had the other outfit, that slow-mo glance they have at each other. That to me was just that was a beautiful way of ending the finale. And I just wanted to get that out there because I know how this conversation is going to turn soon. So I just wanted to say, as far as season 2, as the season 1, I feel wrong even saying this now after what we learned this week, but if we had to rank all the Arrowverse seasons, Superman at Lois season 1 remains in the top 2. Superman at Lois season 2 is definitely still top 10. It was an excellent sophomore outing, and I'm very happy with how it ended. Now I'll give you the floor to see what you two thought.
I after like watching it and it sunk in, and I felt this way while I was like viewing the progress of the episode, it definitely felt like they had been told, we don't know how the shows are going to be moving forward, so you need to make sure you can wrap up in a way that's satisfactory writing wise. And I think it was a detriment to the episode. What had been a near perfect season for me fell short in the finale, and that is just because the storytelling a lot of times was messy or unearned, which it's my least favorite episode of the season, even though it does have some great moments, like you mentioned, Michael. That Clovis moment was perfection. I think when Chrissy learns who Clark is his alter ego, I love that moment. I love how excited she gets. I love that the show, you don't like it, Reed?
Don't trust her. I was screaming. I was like, Lois, what are you doing? I don't trust her.
I don't necessarily, I don't know if I can say I trust Chrissy, but I think I can trust Chrissy's relationship with Lois. It might become a problem when it comes to the writing, like when it comes to when she has to write stories for the newspaper. But as far as their friendship goes, I get why they had Lois tell her. I do like that they put a lot of storytelling into how much of a weight it is to carry Clark's secret. And that is because they have to carry it too. It's not just Clark's secret. And so they should be able to come to him and tell him they want to tell somebody, and this is why. And this is because the lying has made it difficult, and it can't be sustained. And I think for me, my favorite scene of this season finale was between John Henry and Natalie. That father-daughter relationship is so heartfelt. Like, I'm moved every time they have an emotional scene with each other. And the fact that she messed up and it's not her fault because she didn't hear him ask her to bring the XK. And the way that he's just like, it's okay. Because what I still got you. And that's what I wanted most of all. And that they, like, even as they're dealing with the fact that, we're going to die, they save the day too. They figure out how to help in the effort to stop Allie. And I was so glad that they weren't sacrificed. Like, you still get that lovely moment, but also they get to go home and they get to be with their now extended family, because at this point the Kents are their family too. And I loved when Natalie told the boys that she was happy to have brothers. That was very sweet.
That was cute.
Yeah, that was a lovely moment. Like, their relationship's kind of been like one of the undercurrent parts of the season, and then it's been building up slowly, and it was nice to see that payoff because they haven't shared as much screen time in the second half as they did in the first half. So you always wondered where that development was going, but no, that was a lovely moment. And we used to call it the Kent Lane family. I think now we call it the Kent Lane Irons family, and I love that for all of them. It's a wonderful little dynamic.
I'm trying to think of how to pivot into this, but were my eyes deceiving me, or did Candace come back?
She did, and I ignored her because
like
unearned.
Like, what are we doing? I forgot about her.
And so did Jonathan. And I'm not seeing how Lois is going to be cool with that relationship striking up again next
Speaking
season.
of relationships striking up again.
Yes.
Here we go.
What did we think of the scene with Sarah and Jordan and with the bench and with the mural that doesn't have the E in Smallville?
I did not think it was earned. It was one of the scenes on my list of unearned. The problem was deeper than Jordan not being honest with her. I appreciated her apology to him about how she'd broken trust. But the fact that we like learned this like internally, like it was told and she figured it out internally, it wasn't expressed until that moment. I would have rather seen her recognizing that in order for a relationship to thrive, trust is needed throughout the entire season, and for that to be actually in the plot. Like if that's what she was working through internally as she was watching her parents, fine, but I needed her to say it.
Yeah, I appreciated the apology because one of my biggest issues with the storyline early on was yes, we knew he was keeping secrets from her, and that's not right, but his hands were tied. She was keeping a big secret from him, and I understand she was going through some stuff, and that's fine, but she treated him very poorly as a result of it. And this is coming from someone who's always tough on Jordan. The three of us are tough on Jordan, but I do feel like he deserved a little better out of that story. So I'm glad before it ended, it put a bit of the sheen back on the show's handling of it, that she recognized it. But I do agree, since family drama is such a big part of this show, she should have spent more time realizing that on screen instead of so much happening off screen.
Yeah, I don't know about her apology. I don't know. I just I don't care because it wasn't even his secret to tell. And I don't really feel bad because he should have kept the secret. He shouldn't have felt obligated to tell her. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But I have another bone to pick with Sarah, and it's like the smallest moment in the episode. It happened really early on, and after it happened, I couldn't stop thinking about it, and I haven't seen anybody talk about it. But it just makes me laugh so much. It's in the beginning. I think she was on the phone trying to find her dad or something, and she's by the car, and her sister's like, Sarah, the person on the radio is scaring me. And Sarah's on the phone, she's like, hold on. She walks away, didn't even care about her sister. I was howling. I was like, what? She couldn't even care or pretend to care about that little girl. Just left her in that car. Her and Lana just had their back to her. I was thinking, is something gonna happen to the sister? Because they turned their backs, and I was like, are they gonna turn back around and she's gone or something? I was just screaming the whole episode. I couldn't stop thinking about that small scene.
Season 3, Sophie's gonna be in trouble because they ignored her once again.
Sophie's revenge.
Yeah, this is Sophie's villain's origin story.
It is.
It's Sarah, turn the radio off. It takes 2 seconds.
And she's like, nope, I'm on the phone.
And the window was down too. She could have done it. Yeah, no, I did notice that. Yeah. I don't know what to say. That you can't really defend that because it's such an easy thing to do. The Flash has a similar moment, which I tweeted about logically, why would these people do this? And we'll get to that later. But you can't defend those moments.
You can't. But just to go back to what you were saying about Sarah and the apology, I agree. I appreciated it because it happened. It's not analogous, and she was treating it like it was. It was rough this season with Sarah and Jordan. And it had already been sort of if you weren't really aboard that relationship, this season made it almost unbearable if you didn't care for the relationship at all, only because that she just could not see past herself, and they weren't having her see that she could not see past herself. And then they waited until she's sitting on a bench with 5 minutes left in the season finale for her to really get it. And I kind of wish that, I know that's because they had to write it like it was going to be a series finale, but there was more meat there for Jordan and Sarah that's not going to be revisited in season 3, I'm sure, because they already made the statement that they're fine now, but they shouldn't have been fine.
Mm-hmm. It was just too much to talk about between them for that scene, for me at least.
Yeah, no, that was my bit. second biggest issue with the finale, in that they are described as this emotional heart of the show, and we did see that so much throughout season 1. Season 2 was all about making it a traumatic experience for them, and then this line did find their way to something of a straight and narrow in the last couple of episodes, and that they could at least communicate with each other. See, the previous episode finally ripped that band-aid off, gave us that big moment where she found out, and then they shared one scene together in the finale in the form of a quick wrap-up, tie up these storylines, and we didn't even get to see her learn that Superman was Jordan's father. Now, she saw that he has powers in Smallville, which, if you've watched Smallville, if you've watched Superman and Lois, isn't that newsworthy? Anyone can get powers in Smallville thanks to X-Kryptonite. So that to me doesn't feel like that big of a hook. She shouldn't have seen that. I'm like, that's why he hasn't been keeping the secret from me for a year and a half. She should have asked more questions, and she did in the end of the previous episode. And yet in this one, she literally never even referenced Jordan until they shared that scene together in the end. And I feel like for the show spending 2 years building that up, there should have been more questions. There should have been more gravity, and that's just the outcome of her finding out so close to the finale. But she should have had that moment. Wait, Superman's your father. Wait, you're half alien. Season 3 is going to take a time jump, like all season 3s do. There'll be some kind of untapped time, and we'll not get to see that conversation, and that feels like such a missed opportunity.
Yeah, especially because you would have thought he told her something innocuous about it. Like, he's Superman. And she's like, okay, so I want to talk about our relationship and how like I messed up. I know that is just a time issue. I just wish that the writing hadn't suffered for time.
Her priorities are always just kind of like not exactly where they should be.
True. That's true.
Like, she's almost there. Like, it's within reach, but she's not there yet. Every time.
She needs to like take more notes from her mom, because like I do love that Lana's like main thing this episode was to find Kyle, because she does love him, but also loving him does not mean that they get back together. Mm-hmm. Like that there is a sort of there's a difference there, and I love that he didn't see that, but she did, and I don't know if that means that Tal will be back next season.
Better be
for Lana to try things out with her, but I am happy that like she's stuck to where she wants to be in life, and that's concentrating on her babies, Smallville, and being the best mayor that she can be.
This just came to my mind, and we don't have to talk too much about it because we still have to talk about the elephant in the room. Mm-hmm. I want a Tal miniseries of him in that bizarro whatever he's in.
That'd be fun.
That would be fun.
Yes, it would. Yes, it would. I feel like if they don't at least give us one episode their next season, that would be a missed opportunity. And if they probably won't, because we did Bizarro World this year. But like, I do think that interview with the showrunner did say that Tal, they're going to try to get him back as much as they can because they love Adam Rayner, and like so on board with that. But it would be nice to see, like, what if he became the Superman of that world? That would be cool. Like he has some learning to do.
Yeah, like we had to sit through. Oh, I shouldn't say it like that, but Disney Plus gave us Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's like, can't we get 6 episodes of Tal doing what he's doing now? Like, that's fun for me.
It is fun. Make it a CWTV.com exclusive or something.
Yeah.
Or just like make it like a holiday event.
Yes.
No, it doesn't have to be a holiday themed episode, but like air it during the holidays.
True.
Yeah.
Like, once again, just throwing out free ideas.
True.
Yeah, no, I would love that. I hope we see more of him. I honestly thought he was going to die, because the fact is he disappeared. We all thought he died, and then we found out that was Bizarro Tal. The moment he disappeared, I was like, he's going to come back in that class black coat in the finale and help save the day. And that's exactly what he did. But when they shoot him off to Ali Alston very, very early on, I was like, he's not going to make it out of this. Because I knew Superman, I watched the trailer, I knew Superman or Clark was going to do that dramatic. There's only one person who can save them. Me.
My God. Clark being dramatic for no reason.
So I knew that was going to happen. So I was like, Tal's not going to save the day here. So thank God for Jordan. Jordan really came through yet again.
Well, okay.
He did. He saved his
we
uncle.
Can give Jordan credit.
Yeah.
I don't like to give that kid too much, but
yeah, he saved his uncle. Tal got them monster trucks in return for it. But all in all, I'm glad Tal made it out alive, because a lot of the times the shows never know how to handle their season one villain. Usually that ends in a season two redemption where they sacrifice themselves. Again, Superman and Lois subverted their expectations. So I think we will see him again in season three, but not quite as frequently as we did in season two. But like, as long as he's back, that's good enough for me.
Yeah, quick aside about Tal though. He had to have gotten those trucks delivered to Smallville. There is no dealership in that town that would sell the that would with what? Who's buying that in Smallville?
Could have just flown them in rather than getting delivery people to do it.
He could have, and now he can't. Clark can't even sell those because Tal's not even on their Earth. Those 15-year-olds don't need those trucks. Please just sell it and buy something for the town. I don't. Or they can
problems.
Yes, put it in a trust fund or something. Because my goodness.
Donate to Lana.
Oh yes.
For the town.
Okay, but the elephant in the room is the Arrowverse connection or lack thereof. What was it? Sam got 2 sentences and looking up towards the sky, and then we were right back to the plot, and that was it.
Yeah.
The Arrowverse outsider. Let me get my thought out of the way because it's not.
Yeah.
I thought it was so clunky.
Yes.
Like, I know they just threw that in. It was so unnatural to me. Even as an outsider, I was like, he said that and I was like, that's it? That's how they're gonna explain this away? I don't know. I thought it was a little lazy, but I know their hands are tied. I know there's only so much they could do, but like, there could have been a better line of dialogue to sneak that into, other than that very clunky monologue.
Yeah, no, what's that meme in it? 2 months exposition. That's exactly what it felt like. It's like we have to tell people this and we don't know how, but we'll use Sam to do it. No, on a dialogue point, I know I've rewatched it back and tried to just take myself out and think, what would the average viewer think when watching that? And I was like, that's still a badly written line. It just
here's your average viewer.
I don't know, no. And I just praised that other scene from the episode, and my biggest issue with the episode was that came next. So I was trying to watch this goosebump inducing moment with this in the back of my mind, and it didn't work. That soured the rest of the finale for me because, like I said, I really enjoyed it as an episode. So yes, to anyone who doesn't understand what that meant, Sam Lane said to his grandsons that there are other worlds out there. I've seen leagues of superheroes, and across every Earth, but on this Earth we only have your father, and he's the best of them all. And yes, that was a reference to Earth Prime's Justice League, which consists of the likes of the Flash, Batwoman, Supergirl, formerly the Green Arrow, and of course Tyler Hoechlin's Superman. But now we've learned that the Tyler Hoechlin Superman, the Bitsy Tulloch Lois Lane, the Jenna LeDuan Lucy Lane, and the David Ramsey John Diggle that we met on the first 3 on Supergirl and the other one on Arrow, those versions of those characters are not the same ones we met in Superman and Lois. Why wait 2 seasons to tell us that? That didn't sit right with me. It felt like they were trying to capitalize on a really popular product here, and that Superman project does not need to capitalize on that kind of property. It was disrespectful to Supergirl for introducing Superman, Lois, and Lucy. It was disrespectful to Arrow for introducing John Diggle. It's disrespectful to the whole universe. As we go on, Crisis on Infinite Earth ages so poorly because it was designed to create a new Arrowverse to bring Black Lightning and Supergirl onto the same Earth as all the rest of the shows. And then Black Lightning and Supergirl and Batwoman and Legends have all ended, leaving only the Flash and Superman and Lois. And now we learned that that Superman that's part of Earth Prime is also not the same Superman and Superman and Lois, which means Superman and Lois had baby Jonathan on Supergirl. And then after Crisis rewrote everything, we found out that they had the boys. Yes, honey, your sons, as Lois said. So now Earth Prime Superman has twin boys, which aren't the same twin boys we met in Superman and Lois. Why rewrite all that just to change it later in the game? Why does Earth Prime Superman not have baby Jonathan anymore? Because that was clearly setting up Superman and Lois. And somewhere along the line, someone's looked at Superman and Lois and said, you know what, that's separated from the rest of the world. And because they've been so secretive about it, it works, but it's disrespectful, it's unnecessary, and it means that the Arrowverse is dying a lot quicker than we thought it would, because once the Flash goes, there is no linear Arrowverse show left. Stargirl sat on Earth 2, and Superman and Lois is sat on who knows what Earth. But the Justice League of Earth Prime that we learned about, all of them will be gone after the Flash ends. And that to me does not sit right. And it soured what I thought was a fantastic finale.
It really hurts my brain.
Mine too. It hurts my heart.
It hurts theirs as well. I don't know about the heart, but the brain. I was bothered by it because they could have, I mean, that was a line that he could have said at the beginning of the season, and it would not have mattered. I just, if it hadn't been teased that they were going to have a connection to the Arrowverse in the season 2 finale, I don't think I would have been as bothered by it. Like, it's one of those things like, oh, they said that. Well, that was rather poor. Hopefully they do something better in season 3. If the Arrowverse is dead, then it's dead. But like, I don't like how it has been, like how they're laying it in the grave. It feels like they're tossing it 6 feet deep and like want to just wash their hands of it, which is not, it's really disrespectful to what came before, but also it's still people in tights, y'all. The tone is just different. Like, Superman and Lois is not simply superior because it takes itself more seriously than, say, Legends and the Flash did, who've been goofy. Goofiness is fun. Seriousness can be fun and compelling and really have you tuning in. I don't see why one is better than the other. It's all just comes down to personal taste. I'm personally someone who enjoys both. And I think that it's not that, oh, we're going to get a much better superhero television now that Superman and Lois are around and DC wants to elevate what they bring to the CW. And it's like, y'all the same people that were really enjoying The Flash in its first seasons and Arrow in its first seasons. Like, just because we're a decade past now, let's not be brand new and pretend like you weren't enjoying the shows before, because they didn't have the same tone as Superman and Lois, and they were still drawing huge audiences. I mean, that's why Comic-Con was the place to be once Arrow was on and Flash was on and they were doing all these crossovers. Did it get messy at the end? Is it nonsensical now? Does it have a lot of issues with it? Sure, but that's the truth. That's the true about any show that goes past at least like 4 seasons, if they didn't have a plan going forward. And the Flash is showing signs of that, and has been since season 4, in my opinion. And the finale did not help that. So I guess we can let Superman and Lois lie for right now.
We'll give it a little break, but we'll be back to it later.
Yeah, because we want so much for it, and that Arrowverse connection wasn't it. That wasn't. I mean, I'm not. No, it just wasn't. It was,
yeah, there's a better way to do that. I feel like, just from like a writing perspective, not even as like a fan perspective, like there could have been a much more brief aside, like, what about Kara? And they were just like, oh, she's not on this earth. Perfect, great. Oh, maybe not perfect, but like that would have been for me better than Sam screaming and going off about that.
As boats are falling out of the sky.
Yes. Just mention Kara once, please. Like, I just don't. It doesn't mean that Melissa's coming. Just tell us just say her name. It just seems odd that they won't reference the other super. I know I just said that we were going to leave Superman and Lois alone, but that one more note, like, just
it's the biggest. It's understandable.
Yes, mention her, girl.